Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. Today I want to talk a little bit about Virat Kohli being stripped of his ODI, that is One Day International's captaincy. In my opinion, that was a long time in coming. In fact, if you ask me, when they fired Kumble as coach, that was way back in 2017 Champions Trophy final, where Kumble had questioned Virat Kohli's wisdom in winning the toss and electing to field on what was a road front of a wicket. So, see, this is like a bar brawl. Let's say Kumble and Virat Kohli had a disagreement and they had a fight, verbal fight, whatever you want to call it. So, if you are going to penalize, you should penalize both. Who was the godfather that was behind Virat Kohli all these days that made him feel like I can do whatever I want? Somebody is backing me solidly. Believe me, this has happened before. When Dhoni was not doing so well in the Test series against Australia, there were questions asked whether he should be the captain of the ODI team, because the ODI series started right after the Test series. Now, at that point, it is believed that the selectors dropped Dhoni as the captain, but the then president of BCCI, N. Srinivasan, put his foot down and said that Dhoni has to be the ODI captain too. And interestingly enough, Dhoni won that ODI series 2-0 against Australia, and therein, that matter ended. So in this case, we don't know who it was that was backing Virat Kohli to make him feel that he was invincible, that he could take decisions the way he wanted. And also, now today, if you read the Times of India article, it says that even Ravi Shastri was not able to get across to Virat Kohli in the waning days as a coach. Whatever it is, I don't think I want to blame Virat Kohli, but there was always a suspicion that he was doing whatever he was doing under instructions. For instance, I still can't believe that India performed so poorly in the World T20 Championship. Remember, if you want to fix a match, you want to do it when the overwhelming odds are in favor of one team, and you fix it by betting against that, and then you clean up big. All I'm saying is the way India played, the team selection for that left a lot to be desired, and whoever it was that did it, I mean, that was bad. Let's just leave it at that. Now let's take a look at how the ODI team will look under Rohit Sharma. Some of you may think that things may improve, but I'm not so sure. ODI team has a lot of promising talent coming through. And in my opinion, ODI is one of those formats where you need to have fresh legs. So you should be playing players between 21 to maybe 27, 28. That's the peak functioning of their capacity, because they're fresh legs, they can run around, they can cover the grounds. And by the way, they have a lot of talent, oodles of talents, as a matter of fact. So will India take that approach now that there is a new coach in town? We have to wait and see what happens. But best of luck to Rohit Sharma. Now, let's take a look at India's team selection to the tour of South Africa. Interestingly, they picked 18 players. This is par for the course in a post-COVID world, because we don't know who's going to be quarantined and who's not. So you want to keep a few extra. Fair enough. Now, the interesting things that I see are Hanuma Vihari getting back into the team. If you look at players like Shubham Mavi, Mayank Agarwal, who probably will have to sit down, I think Hanuma Vihari is probably not as impressive in his 3-4 years career as a test player as compared to these players. I believe that these players are the future of Indian cricket team, and therefore, even if if they're failing a couple of times, they should be given the proper chances in South Africa. South Africa has a good bowling attack, but their batting is not that strong. So India can risk a few young players and still make a match out of it. So my quick 11 for the first test, India versus South Africa, would be Rohit Sharma and Rahul at the top, Cheteshwar Pujara, Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, Rishabh Pant. then Ashwin, and then three bowlers who pick themselves: Bumrah, Shami, and Siraj, and perhaps a bowling all-rounder like Shardul Thakur. This is my 11. I could, you can say, hey, not fair for Mayank Agarwal, not fair towards Shubman Gill. But they can only play 11 players. But it is my opinion that Rahane should sit out the first test and let somebody young try their luck at number 5. And Shreyas has done a good job. Let him run there for some more time. Again, my two inputs. Now, one promising feature from the New Zealand series that I saw was the speed at which Mohammad Siraj was bowling. He was regularly clocking 140 clicks. It's a very, very pleasant sight to see, because on Indian tracks, if he is able to hit 140, he would be able to do 143, 144 easily in South African tracks. And if he can, control and be the way that skiddy bowling that he does, if he can do that, that would be very, very good. He would be India's secret weapon, because Bumrah is almost always a wicket taker. Shami is just as penetrative. And with three fast bowlers and Shardul Thakur also to back up, and the wily Ashwin as the spinner, India are well served in the bowling department. The question that I have is, will Cheteshwar Pujara continue to get playing opportunities, or will this be his last overseas series? We have to wait and see. Thanks for watching, and do like, subscribe, and share our videos. By the way, Facebook also wants you to like, share, and subscribe. So now, just like YouTube, Facebook also is beginning to look at how many people like the video as soon as it starts airing. So help us out. Thank you once again. Namaskar.